Alright, this is Weapon X Reacts and we're back with another video, and the Captain America Brave New World film has just come out and it looks awful. I'm gonna break down the plot of this film. So, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident after having a meeting with President Thaddeus Ross. He must soon discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. I even want to talk about the first reactions for a bit, and it's pretty bad. And this is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes. 53% from the critics. And if we have a look at the top critic score, it dropped down to 41%. It just shows you that this film right here is going to bomb hard at the box office. And I'm even going to be reading out some of the things that the critics said about this film. So, for the first one, the film is reminiscent of the franchise's most forgettable products, such as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania or Black Widow. Films made on autopilot, where the functional replaces the inspirational. And for the second review, that's from Scott Derrickson, Brave New World is very bad. Imagine that Roger Moore's first 007 flick was A View to Kill. It's a lazily retrofitted and dumbed down hybrid of Winter Soldier and Civil War that trades present tense topicality for Incredible Hulk nostalgia. The third critic says, how bad is Captain America Brave New World? So bad that one really has to break it down to all of its missteps to figure out how it all went so wrong. The fourth critic says, the grand message here is eye-rolling, especially given what the real America is going through. What's most frustrating in this utterly pointless MCU entry is that for A Brave New World, this is the same mediocrity. Shield yourselves. This one right here has a review I actually kind of agree with. So, the story is all lead up and no payoff. It's not horrible, but it feels bland and forgettable. One of the critics even said that this film is better to watch drunk. And guess what? You better bet that the Shields are going to be defending this film, just like always. And I will tell you this, they will forget it in a couple of years, and this right here is one of the reasons of why liking films right now is becoming a dead thing nowadays. And I just want to let you know that this film had multiple reshoots, and when that happens, you know for a fact that it is going to be awful. Just look at the Marvels, for example. I'm even going to be reading out the positive reviews of this film, and some of the reviews here are literally created by paid Disney shills. So for the first one, Captain America Brave New World isn't a bad movie, but it's clearly made by a formula-loving team of executives who are convinced that playing it safe is better than taking risks. And even though that this is a positive review, one thing that I actually agree with is that one thing Marvel needs to do is to take risks sometimes, and another thing is to have emotional stakes in your films. Because the films that I've seen from Marvel are empty and hollow. The story got a little bit overstuffed and made the ending a little bit wobbly, but still a solid political thriller, with Mackie as shining as the lead. Carl Lumbly's performance as Isaiah Bradley will break your heart. It's a Marvel film, no more, no less. I even heard that there were protests during this film's premiere, and the left were chanting, boycott Disney, or free Palestine. And it just shows you that the pandering to these kinds of people will never work. And this right here is just embarrassing for Disney and Marvel as a whole. When leftists hate this movie, you know for a fact that this film was made for no one. And I totally recommend you don't waste your time to this film or paying your money to companies that don't give a damn about you, especially from a company like Disney, because they destroyed this franchise with wokeness, and there is no saving the MCU right now, because they care more about pushing out content that nobody asked for, rather than making something that is actually good. And it's not superhero fatigue, it's dog shit fatigue. And that is how it is. And movies like this will continue to do poorly, because people are already at the point of where they don't care about this kind of crap anymore. And it's just sad to see what this franchise has become nowadays. And if you have a look at some of the stuff that came out of Star Wars, it just shows you that Disney just takes everything you love and pisses all over it. And ever since Disney bought these two franchises, they have done nothing but inject it with their identity politics. And they need to start realizing that wokeness doesn't create or improve anything. It only destroys, and this doesn't go for Disney. This goes for every single company. One thing that companies need to realize is you are making products! So stop preaching your bullshit and start selling your products to customers. That's it. That's your purpose. Not identity politics. If this film does poorly at the box office, guess who Disney is gonna blame? It's actually pretty simple. It's the people who didn't watch it. And I can't wait for it. Because Disney can't take criticism. And they will throw out buzzwords like bigot, or racist, or homophobic, or sexist, or transphobic, or whatever they can throw. You know what was the biggest mix opportunity ever? Is that Bucky could have been the next Captain America, but they had to give it to Sam Wilson. And I'm actually going to be serious right now. Sam Wilson will never be Captain America. And you know what's the most stupidest thing about this is that they thought Red Hulk would be an allegory for Trump. And to me, it's just a lazy attempt to piss people off. I'm even going to show you the trailers of this film, starting with the first one.
Wilson. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for the invite, sir. I have to admit, I'm still getting used to the new look. They said lose the mustache or lose the election. You and I haven't always agreed in the past, but I want to make another run at making Captain America an official military position. And if we disagree on how to manage this situation, then what happens? Work with me, Sam. We'll show the world a better way forward. Steve Rogers.
100%.
You're right. I'm not. You asked for me. Here I am. You want to help me? Is there anything you remember? Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross. Whatever this is, Cap, be careful. What do we know?
There were 5 shooters. This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.
I was a wartime general. Now I'm a wartime president. Your inner circle's been compromised. Let me fix it. Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
I will admit, Harrison Ford was actually okay as Red Hulk. And I just want to let you know that Red Hulk is only in the film for 7 minutes. When literally, he is the biggest promotional image of this film.
In America, you ever ask yourself, who's playing who? Someone's been pulling the strings on everything. You're under arrest? I don't want a variable out there that I can't control. Captain America caught without his wings.
And still, why hasn't Harrison Ford retired yet? He looks too old for this shit.
I know what this is.
Since when were they red?
You want me? Come and get me! Captain America, we've dedicated our entire lives to serving this country. Adamantium has turned us against each other. We can't let this get into the wrong hands. The country's on the brink of war. Make sure the suit's ready. How the hell did he just do that? Really? You must be new. I bet you break easy. Not that easy. Nobody saw that. He won't walk away alive, Captain, but he will.
Is that best friend?
Captain America, Brave New World. Experience it in IMAX this Friday. Get tickets now.
And I even want to show you what the leader looks like in this film, and it looks terrible, bro! That's supposed to be the leader. And if we have a look at his comic version, this is him from the comics. That is him from the movies. See? What a waste. I also want to talk about the things that Anthony Mackie said about Captain America, saying that he shouldn't represent America. And that is the dumbest take I have ever heard. When literally the character represents patriotism and fighting for your country. And his version of Captain America to me is just a symbol of Disney's DEI garbage. Nothing more. Also, remember that line from Falcon and the Winter Soldier when it was the writers telling us that we need to do better? No. People like you need to do better. And there is something for you to get started. Write better stories. And stop lecturing the public about everything that goes on in your head. Because this film right here is pure dog shit. And it's a perfect example of why Disney and Marvel are failing. And here's my advice. Reject this film. And Marvel will continue to go further and further down the drain. Because the films that I've seen from them were all made for one purpose. To be part of a big storyline. And that idea from Marvel is so desperate about won't help them. And guess what? Nobody gives a shit about the movies you create anymore. Well done. You just alienated your own fan base by doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And it all ends the same way every time. And the biggest problem with this film is that it's just shallow. And it's just like every single piece of crap that we got from the MCU in the last 5 years. And just like always, Disney will never learn from their mistakes. And they will continue to destroy this franchise no matter what. And don't expect Marvel to improve. Reject this shit as soon as possible. Because you are nothing to them but customers! So show them that you have value. And maybe think twice about watching this movie. Just look at the backlash it's getting. And nobody wants this version of Captain America or Red Hulk. Because no one cares anymore. And everyone knew that this film was going to be a failure right from the very start. And I think I'm just gonna stick with Marvel films like Iron Man, because that right there was the MCU at its best, before Disney turned it into a dead corpse. It's basically just like Star Wars right now. What Disney did to Star Wars is a perfect example of why they should never touch a franchise, because everything they touch turns to shit. And you know what? People are rejecting this kind of stuff. And that is a good thing. And I actually heard that Disney is actually trying to reject the message in putting it into their films. But I don't believe it. And I will believe it when I see it. And Captain America Brave New World looks like garbage, okay? And it's just a perfect example of why the MCU is in the state it is right now. And I just want to let you know that Eternals and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania were much worse than this, and they both had a score on Rotten Tomatoes that were 41%. And that's honestly pretty pathetic. And I don't want a sequel to The Eternals because the Eternals film, that was garbage. You know what? Marvel, you can continue creating your garbage ass stories. You can continue focusing on your little multiverse saga that won't go anywhere. Continue on that. Let's see how the audience will react to it when you are done. Because this movie describes the death of the MCU. And Disney, they will suffer for it. Disney will continue to create the same trash over and over again. Because they lost what made their film so good in the first place. It's that they had good stories. Now it's all about creating remakes that no one asked for. And you know what? Don't let these companies get anywhere near the franchises you love. Look at The Lord of the Rings. Look at Star Wars. Look at Marvel. And tell me that I'm wrong. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now. And always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness.